Trump may have won the presidency, but Bitcoin sure won the night as it soars to new all-time highs and past 75K. So what does a Trump victory mean for Bitcoin in the bull market, including the very real potential for a national strategic Bitcoin reserve? Will Trump print US dollars to buy Bitcoin? Plus, Bitcoin ETFs show record inflows in the first hour of trading this morning, and we hear from senior ETF analyst Eric Balchunas on Bitcoin tripling gold and why it's the second amendment of money. Well, it's official. Donald Trump was elected the 47th president of the United States. And while votes were still being counted, Bitcoin rocketed up to new all-time highs and now sits just above 75K at the time of recording. So why did the Bitcoin price react so favorably to a Trump victory? Well, if you've been living under a rock, the reasons are quite simple. Trump is the first US president elected to not be outwardly adversarial to Bitcoin and digital assets as a whole. On the contrary, during his campaign, he spoke very favorably towards Bitcoin, even going as far as announcing the possibility of creating a national strategic Bitcoin reserve for the country. And just today, pro-Bitcoin senator out of Wyoming, Cynthia Lummis, posted this on X in all caps. "We are going to build a strategic Bitcoin reserve." So it seems there are people in Washington and now in the incoming president's cabinet who not only support Bitcoin, but understand how it represents an escape valve from the crushing debt the world faces and the broken monetary system that we've all been forced to be a part of. Head of Swan Private, Stephen Lubka, put it like this: "The magnitude of the Republican sweep has absolutely killed any chance of future crypto Bitcoin opposition. The industry was the biggest donor. Their supported candidates won. Anti-crypto is now trembling in fear of the price they paid for something that had no upside for them." Lubka is largely referring to Elizabeth Warren's anti-crypto army, which with this resounding Republican win is all but dead. So regardless where you stand politically, if you're pro-Bitcoin, you can't deny the positive shift a Trump presidency represents for the future of money. I'm a firm believer that no matter who won the election, Bitcoin would be the winner in the long run, because both parties will print ungodly amounts of money over the next 4 years to service the debt. And we all know Bitcoin lives to take advantage of currency debasement. But let's talk about a few more things that a Trump presidency could mean for Bitcoin over the next 4 years. First, this will likely lead to Trump reversing the veto on the SAB 121 rules. SAB 121 is guidance issued by the SEC to provide transparency for the unique risks associated with institutions and banks holding digital assets on behalf of their customers. Biden famously vetoed the new rules in June of this year, but with Trump's cabinet being filled with people who are pro-Bitcoin, this is one very likely to be overturned in 2025. Which means banks will be allowed to custody Bitcoin. This would be another massive milestone for Bitcoin and just further legitimizes it as a sought-after global investable asset. 2. Gary Gensler is getting fired. Trump famously promised this during his speech at this year's Bitcoin conference in Nashville to huge applause from the crowd.
"We're going to let it grow. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman." Is that unpopular?
It's very likely that Trump appoints a more libertarian-leaning SEC chair to take over for Gensler, which means innovation is in, and of course, Bitcoin is poised to continue to take center stage in the digital asset world. This could also lead to in-kind ETFs eventually, which means people will be able to swap ETFs for real Bitcoin without tax consequences. Plus, on top of the real potential for a national strategic Bitcoin reserve, individual states could start their own Bitcoin reserves, and TradFi will view this Trump win as a coast clear for advisor allocation, which would mean we have barely scratched the surface of a large institutional buying frenzy. So overall, this is extremely bullish for Bitcoin in every way, and I believe it's a turning point in a vibe shift for the next phase of Bitcoin adoption. And Bitcoin ETF customers clearly agree, as IBIT, the largest Bitcoin ETF by BlackRock, saw $1 billion in inflows in the first hour of trading this morning. The market is pricing in the US election results, and it's looking like Bitcoin is getting ready to enter price discovery. And who better to pump you up for what's coming with the Bitcoin price than this fire post by James Lavish? There will be 2 phases of price discovery for Bitcoin soon. The first phase begins with price pushing through all the shorts, causing a squeeze through the all-time high and perhaps 10 to 25% higher. Then the price settles back for more shorts to pile on. But this will be a head fake, and a strong reversal will vaporize them quickly. This is when the real price discovery begins. Now, if you're like me, you looked at markets this morning a little confused and noticed that gold went the opposite direction of Bitcoin, dropping 3%. Well, here is James Lavish again to explain. Good morning. Gold is down over 3%. Why? Investors now see a decreasing chance of world war, and this is a geopolitical de-risking of markets. Now, this makes sense, as gold is typically the leading global hedge against uncertainty and geopolitical turmoil. But could this diversion in Bitcoin versus gold also be pointing to the start of a larger trend of Bitcoin beginning to outperform gold by a large margin? Bloomberg senior ETF analyst Eric Balchunas was on Natalie Brunell's podcast yesterday, and he discussed why he believes Bitcoin ETFs will surpass gold ETFs in the coming years.
The thing about the Bitcoin ETFs and why we think they're going to pass gold ETFs and maybe triple gold ETFs over the years is because gold is used as a way to hedge inflation and the dollar devaluation similarly. But gold is real boring. Like, it doesn't move a lot. I know it's up pretty good this year, but it's Bitcoin makes gold look like a money market fund. Okay, so the volatility of Bitcoin is a feature, not a bug, in this current world. And the reason I say that is because so many people have moved a lot of their core portfolio into a cheap Vanguard index fund or BlackRock ETF, and they're married to it. They're like, I'm good. I'm going to wait 30 years for this to compound. It's boring though. So they got a good investment there, but they're looking for a little action, like some spice on an otherwise dull meal. Gold doesn't give you the hot sauce spice kick that is really in demand right now. So to me, with Bitcoin, you actually get a 2-for-1. You get the hot sauce because it can go up and down quick, and you get the store of value. And so for that reason, that's why I think it does have more potential than gold did. And that's the usage in the portfolio that is practical versus gold, which is to put gold in a portfolio that you have 60-40, you almost have to just want an alternative. Whereas here, I don't even know if Bitcoin is an alternative. To me, it's more of a risk on high beta kind of thing. But either way, I just think its volatility gives it something that is in demand now that gold that doesn't really have.
Balchunas also commented on why he sees Bitcoin as the second amendment of money and how it all started to click for him.
I have heard you call Bitcoin the second amendment of money. What do you mean by that? And can you talk a little bit more about just your own journey with Bitcoin and this asset class?
So that's a quote I got from this guy, Ben Hart, who wrote this book, Introduction to Bitcoin. You are essentially getting protection from your government, which generally likes to print money to solve problems. If you think that both parties are going to take the easy road, which is throw money at a problem, whatever may come up, then you're looking at, you need protection from that because they're going to purposely devalue your currency as an expedient way to get out of a problem. We've seen the Fed do it many times. So if you believe, it's very basic. You don't have to be a huge gun person even to understand it. Like, you could want protection from your government this way and not guns. But I just think that saying it that way crystallizes it instantly. And especially in emerging markets, you really need protection from your government in terms of monetary, the currency. Bitcoin's literally 16 years old. So it's literally at peak teenager, which means attitude, volatility. It's probably going to steal the car. It's going to go, it's going to talk back. And so to me, it's just like it's teenager gold. It's as if you could take the 4,000-year-old gold and go back to when it was 16 years old, it was probably behaving similarly. So I think those are two ways that I've come around on it. And the people are very smart. You traverse in this area. There's definitely some whack jobs. Like on Twitter, I definitely get some people. I'm like, this guy's got to be in his parents' basement. I mean, there's no way. But there's some really intelligent people here. And it's relentless. It should have died like 5 or 6 times. It comes back, like a cockroach on steroids. And so I got to respect that. So all those things have maybe come around on it in a way where I respect it.
So overall, a huge day for Bitcoin, and I really see it as a momentum shift that likely spells the start of the parabolic Bitcoin bull run that we will very likely see extend well into 2025. So hop on board before the rocket takes off, and you can do that through Swan. Visit swan.com or download the app by searching Swan Bitcoin in the App Store. We have the easiest onboarding experience in the industry. You can sign up and buy Bitcoin in less than a quarter of the time it took you to watch this video. Plus, you get your first $10,000 in Bitcoin purchases with 0 fees. Front run the US National Strategic Bitcoin Reserve today with Swan. That's it for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like this video and share it with your friends and family. And of course, subscribe to the channel for more high signal Bitcoin content. Thanks for watching, and remember, TikTok next block.